Jeff loves Veronica.
Escape the system. There's no chance for you.
Um trabalho incrível da minha nobre amiga Verônica Campbell, que já está com a gente aqui no nosso estúdio e vamos trazê-la agora para o nosso palco principal. My noble friend Veronica Campbell, Death Loves Veronica, it's great to have you with us this evening here on my daily show, Acesso Redevamp. Be very welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's it's amazing to have you this evening with us. And Veronica, please, let's start from the beginnings, as we say here on Brazil. Please, noble friend, present yourself for our audience. Veronica Campbell by Veronica Campbell.
Um, so you want me to maybe talk about how the album came together, or you just want me to talk about the past?
Oh, you have a great history on the music, on the post punk, on this recent album called this Cold Wave, and please tell us a bit about your history on music, bands that you take part, and what more you think that is interesting to tell. We will
Okay.
enjoy.
So I grew up in California in the Los Angeles area, and started kind of getting my musical taste there as a teenager. Moved to England and heard more that stuff that I really liked, and that's when I really got into goth type of music and post punk. Um, I moved back to the United States when I was 15, and then immediately got involved in music and was on stage by the time I was still 15 with a punk rock band, and I used to have to lie to the club owners sometimes that I was old enough to be in the bar, because of course it was a bar that we would perform at around the city of San Antonio. Um, so that's how I got my start. And then as time went on, I think by the time I was 17 or 18, I was already in a death rock gothic band called Veronica's Veil. And we did a lot of studio work and not so much live. Um, and we ended up on a tribute album, which was, I think, pressed in Germany, and it was for Roz Williams of Christian Death. Um, and so we did a song. A lot of people did songs for him in his to I guess in his memory after he passed away. Um, so yeah, I've been involved in the scene for a long time, uh, but I did take a ten to 12 year break when I had kids, um, and then got back into it about 7 years ago officially. Slowly just got back into it, and then this project I started in 2017. Um, I hope I'm not being confusing. I got back in with the band Death Loves, I'm sorry, Veronica's Veil. And we did some performances, and we opened for 45 Grave, David J. of Bauhaus, and Love and Rockets. We did some great shows. We were in a festival that was amazing with bands from all over the world. Um, but it just didn't work out to get that project back together after so many years. It just wasn't the same. Um, so I started my own project.
Wow. Well, this is a great history, my friend. And we have here on our chat the musician JP Melmoth from the Argentina band Simpunk Music Melmoth sends hi to you, send
Oh,
best
yes.
regards. and
Hello.
he's very happy in watch this interview. And I think that soon JP Melmoth will be with me on this next day, and will be a great interview too. But my friend, please, you have a long and very amazing history on dark music and post-punk, and I think a long history, a long and very interesting history, have some memorable and great moments. Is there, for you, Veronica, is there an unforgettable show that you always remember when you think about, oh, a show, a stage, let's get in the stage, today I have a show. What are your favorite show from all times that you play and remember until these nights?
I think one of my favorite shows was actually it was a festival that I did when I was still at the end of working with Veronica's Veil. And I didn't name that band. It just happened to be called Veronica's Veil. One of the other people in the band named it, and I didn't want my name in that band, which is so strange because I ended up naming this project with my name. But anyway, and it was when we opened for 45 Grave. That night, there were so many bands. Um, in fact, the fest was called Remember the Punks, but they didn't just have punk rock music there. But one of the bands they had was Fear. I think he started in LA a long time ago and then ended up in New York. And he became an actor, the lead singer. He was in movies and stuff. But I ended up we ended up hanging out that night and with his band members, and he talked to me about a lot of the history of the bands that were performing that night, including 45 Grave. And that night, just being backstage in the green room with so many legendary people, hearing their stories, having them give me advice, things like that. That was pretty memorable. And the day after that festival, Dinah from 45 Grave, she came up to me and was telling me that she really, really enjoyed my performance and that she really thought I had something special to offer. And it really did influence me and make me think a lot about what I was doing with that project. And I think it even kind of influenced me to keep going and form my own solo um, project because I wasn't feeling, I guess, completely like myself with the death rock band so much as I wanted to go more into an electronic sound. And 45 Grave is a rock, like death rock thing. So she liked what we were doing, but it still influenced me to want to maybe do more what was true to my heart. And I think her words and leaving words from people that I talked to that night really, really made me want to do more than what I was doing.
Los Angeles, LA, it's a kind of mythical place for us here on São Paulo, Brazil. It's a kind of California, and also the city of Los Angeles. It's a kind of mythical place. Great bands came from Los Angeles. I see a community. I see a community on Facebook another night called I survived to the rock scene of Los Angeles in the 90s. The things in Los Angeles are so crazy, like the moves and the histories of great bands. Uh, how these things are tell in movies or in books. The things are so hot, so crazy in Los Angeles as the movies and the media industry tell us.
Is it that crazy? I think it can be. I was born in Los Angeles, and so for me, Los Angeles is not. a mythical play. I mean, it's kind of strange. I see the magic in it. I see why people, see it the way they do, and a lot did come from it, especially very important elements of the death rock scene and punk rock and the style of music that comes from there. Um, but the way that I was raised half over there in California and then half in other places. Um, I saw it as a different type of place. So um, I wanted, I guess, when I would dream of doing things, I would want to perform outside of. I wanted to go to Europe to perform. Like I wanted to go somewhere else where I think other people want to go to Los Angeles. So I I just remember I would hear a lot of stories growing up about Los Angeles and how it used to be and how my parents grew up there and what they thought of it and my grandparents, and so it was just a different type of place for me. But I did see some stuff and I did get to hear about some things, and I do want to play there. I'm actually trying to set something up uh, to play out there coming up. So
And my friend Veronica, what cannot miss during your creative process while you create music and lyrics?
um, well, I think since I started this solo project, it's been something that I feel compelled to do. I kind of can't help it that I do what I do. Um, I have been diagnosed as having a OCD, which is like an obsessive compulsive disorder. I guess I don't know how to explain that part of it, but when I hear a sound in my head, uh, sometimes even just a sound that something electronic is making, I can hear a pattern in the song. And so then I start thinking of a song and I have to start recording it. So I have to get it out of me. And then I come up with the words later. Um, and I just feel that I have to do music. It's not even a choice for me. It makes me feel better because when I'm not working on music, I'm a kind of a chaotic person and I don't feel very healthy when I'm not working on music. So even in between albums when I'm still promoting the Chemical album, so I'm not recording right now. And I will sort of record sometimes, but I'm trying to be disciplined and take my time. And that's actually really hard for me. But yeah, I feel better when I'm working on something. And I do it because I feel this need that I have to. And so I have to also accept that people may like it and people may not like it. It's something I have to do. So that's the way it needs to be done.
Mhm. And Veronica, how are being these pandemic times for you? This introspective moment with dozens of lockdowns and quarantines in some places is a moment that help you create more music, or it's something more hard to, or it's a time more hard to cross?
Um, it did help me to create. Um, it made me take more time. That was the first. This was the first album I actually spent more time on. I tend to rush things. I'm very impatient and I'm not very good at waiting. So this one, I made sure that it was the correct sound. So um, I live in a small city outside of San Antonio, but San Antonio is my main where I used to go to record at a studio. And since I didn't have that, I had to set something up for myself and then make it better than what it was before so I could record a better quality album. Um, so yeah, I kind of I felt bad about the pandemic and everything that was going on, I felt very bad for people who felt a need to perform live, that they were missing that. And it did feel strange to not perform live. I had a performance coming up right when they started shutting everything down. And of course it was in San Antonio with bands that were traveling from other places, and I felt very bad that we all couldn't get together and perform. But for me, it did help me to create this album and to make it a much better album than I think it would have been, because I was working on something else entirely, and it did sound a little bit more uh, like death rock or post punk sound. And I think this pandemic helped force me to do even more of focusing on the sound that I really, really wanted to do. And it was scary for me because I wasn't sure people would like it, but this was what I wanted, because I've always loved electronic and industrial music as much as I've loved death rock and punk and post punk. Um, I even like some hip hop. I mean, I grew up in the 90s listening to hip hop. It's kind of just a thing that you hear, and in the 80s too. So I have a variety of sounds that have inspired me. And so I felt that what I was going to do with this was the time while everything was shut down. I didn't have other things to influence me or shows to distract me from focusing on tuning myself and making myself into what the Chemical album became.
Hmm. Yes, and my noble friend, now it's time for we watch together your amazing video Burn. So I will just change the scene here, but please stay where you are, ok?
Okay.
E sim, meus nobres amigos e amigas, hoje estamos entrevistando Veronica Campbell, do Death Loves Veronica, e está sendo uma entrevista incrível. A gente vai assistir agora todo mundo junto, vamos assistir o clipe Burn, do álbum novo Chemical. Eu tenho certeza que vocês vão gostar bastante. Então vamos ao clipe.
tonight. Talk about it tomorrow. See tonight. Talk about it tomorrow. Let me die. Talk about it tomorrow.
Acesso Redvamp. E hoje estamos conversando com a vocalista e musicista Veronica Campbell, da Death Loves Veronica. Ela está com a gente aqui no nosso palco. Vamos trazê-la novamente aqui para o palco principal. Veronica, it's an amazing song and a very, very good taste video clip. Very, very cool. And I think you conquered more two fans here in Brazil during this live. One of them is Von Allen, and another one is JP Melmoth on Argentina. And Gabi Moon is enjoying very much this interview.
Oh, good. Thanks. Hi, guys.
Veronica, please tell us a bit more about this video and about the song.
um, so that song. Okay, so when I put out the one you played first when you started the show, that was released as a single before the album was even completed, and this song Burn was the one that I then focused on to become, like, I guess, the main song of the album, the one that would possibly draw in people to understand what the sound was going to be like. So I really focused on that one a lot. Um, it was filmed, of course, during the pandemic. All of the videos I did for this were, so I couldn't use any crew. And that's another thing. When I was planning this album, I was actually supposed to have someone come and film me, and we were going to set some stuff up and, have a set, and it was supposed to look really, really cool. And then everything got shut down. So I had to pretty much figure out how to film this myself. So I contacted somebody in the city that I live in, and we filmed inside of this old theater that was from the 1800s. I'm pretty sure it was built in the 1800s. And I actually ghost hunted in that theater before years ago with a paranormal team. So I know it's haunted because we recorded all kinds of stuff in there. Um, and that same team played footage of other investigations they had done at a UFO conference, and I went to that. And I don't know where I'm just talking now, but it's a pretty cool theater, and it's had some strange activity inside of there, and it's very old. So I thought it would be a cool place to film.
Yes, yes, it's the narrative, the ambience of the clip and the song and your performance there. It's very incredible, and it's a great work. My friend, the new album Chemical, it's amazing and carries a delicious vampiric atmosphere, very sensual, and electro turns our studio in an amazing and sophisticated dance floor. Please tell a bit more of the lyrics and songs of Chemical for us.
Okay. Um, I like to tell a story with every song. So um, a lot of I've had people ask me, do any of these songs have anything to do with what you've been through? Or, well, no, they don't, but they do have my perspective on things. So I try not to make a song about me. I try to make it something that's relatable to anyone, whether they're male or female or however they would like to identify. I try not to make a song about myself. Oh, so because of that, I just use my perspective, my experiences as a part of the song, but they are stories. So none of the songs are really specifically about anyone or anything, but there is a song on there. It's called "There's Nothing Left," and it has a very angry undertone, almost like not revenge, but there's some hatred in that song. And it's not about anyone. When I'm saying that I hate everything about you, there is no you, there's no person that I'm referring to. But that energy from past experiences in disliking a person for something maybe that they've done to you is there. But I just hope that everything I've done is relatable for people.
Very good. And here, Gabi Moon, our watcher here on our audience tell that your music inspired him, and I think he appreciates the Vampire Masquerade online gaming, and he
Mm.
says that your music harmonizes perfectly with the atmosphere of Vampire the Masquerade in the video games and in PC
Okay.
games too. He loves, Gaby loves the song. And Veronica, are you fan of RPGs, dark literature, or even dark sci-fi movies and books?
Yes. I don't play RPG games anymore. I used to, and there was one I was interested in. I have this little thing about aliens. I don't know why, but there's an RPG game where I guess it shows people getting abducted by aliens, and I was gonna play that one, but with music, I really cannot get distracted, or I'll sit there forever playing the game. So, but I used to play The Sims when I was in college, and I've always liked that kind of thing. But science fiction, Um, I love Stanley Kubrick films. I really like The Shining and 2001: A Space Odyssey was just beautiful, very influential to me. I've played that movie on a screen while I compose music with no sound so that I can just focus on my music, but just being able to look up at the film while I'm working is nice. Um, I like the Aliens movies, the first two especially. Um, and as far as dark literature, I used to read H.P. Lovecraft when I was younger. I still have some of the books that I used to read. Of course, I read Dracula twice because I loved Bram Stoker's first person view in that. The Interview with the Vampire, I think I read the three books. I know it's a series, but my memory is really bad. But I did read Anne Rice's uh, books with that one. And Harry Potter. I was reading those when they came out. So yeah, I've always been a fan of darker things and dark literature and science fiction especially.
Yeah, it's an unescapable theme for ours who loves this dark this dark side of life. I think it's an unescapable theme. And
Mm-hmm.
Veronica, when I listen chemical, and yes, first I listen liar, and well, who is that loves Veronica? I need to know more. It's a great band, great work. I need to hear this more. And when I listen chemical, I feel around there a magnetic halo of witchcraft and even some vampirism with some with some with some fragrance of and rice maybe in some parts of your work, and it's amazing. And when I listen this album, i I was here thinking about, well, I love it, this witchcraft and vampiric aspect of your work. but it's there is an influence of these topics on on your songs, on your music, and principally on the album Chemical. Or there always something more aesthetic, the inspiration, the influence. Could you talk more about this for us?
Sure. Um, well, I wrote most of it after I had some surgery because I had tumors inside of me. So I was on heavy medication when I started recording it. So I have to say the title Chemical very much came from the fact that I didn't want to take these medicines, but I knew that I had to, or the pain was just going to be awful. And I started thinking about all the things in our lives that we ingest or eat or are around as people that might be bad for us. And I thought Chemical was the perfect title. I would much rather live a more natural life. Um, and I do feel that the the world of witchcraft and the supernatural world around us and quantum mechanics and the scientific aspect of it or viewpoint of it, I think all of that should be taken into consideration when we think about our philosophies and what is out there and what surrounds us and what might be guiding us through life. And I have studied witchcraft throughout my life. I don't look at it maybe in the same way as other people. I would say if I could say that I'm non-denominational when it comes to the esoteric or some things to do with witchcraft, then that's where I would stand, because I very much do also read about the laws of attraction, quantum mechanics, and I think the scientific world of physics and witchcraft, if we really look at it, I think they're sort of interconnected. And I think the mind has a lot of power in it. I did study parapsychology with actual PhD teachers in that field. So I do take it seriously. I think a lot of what we can do when we put our mind to it is real. Um, so I think I'm talking like I'm going everywhere, but yes, there are magical elements in some of the songs that I did. They may be indirect, but they're there because I do strongly believe that we have the power to create our own destiny. And I think that has to do a lot with the mind power that we put out there. And I think it has to be good energy. Um, but, because there is evil in our world. Um, so I think the best way to get through all of that is to continue to think in a very, very positive way about what you're doing so that it comes true. And I think spells that people read about, um, I think that if you believe in them enough, they will be real when you do those spells. So yes, I do. I actually do believe in witchcraft. It has influenced my life.
Yes, it's something amazing, and yes, that is something that complete our life. I think it's something is not the the most short words on English, but yes, witchcraft, hidden paganism. It's something that fulfill our essence. I think is this what I'm trying to say. But
Yes, it
yes,
can fill a void. Yeah.
yes, it's something very important
Mhm.
for my wife, for my friends here. And it's always good. It's always good to feel this strangeness, this beautiful in our favorite music. And when we have the opportunity to and talk about with the artist and hey, did you have some? Yes, we have. Oh, this is very special, my friend. And now it's time for we watch together the video Red Leader. Okay? I will just change the scene here and we back soon. Meus nobres amigos, olha aí, hoje uma conversa muito legal aqui no Acesso Redvamp com a Verônica Campbell, do Death Loves Veronica. E nesse último bloco falamos de bruxaria, falamos também de vampiros e de muitos temas legais. A gente vai assistir agora o videoclipe Head Leader. Acesso Redevamp. Estamos curtindo hoje Death Loves Veronica e batendo um papo muito legal com a vocalista e musicista Veronica Campbell, que está aí trazendo muitas ideias, muitas visões e a gente podendo conhecer um pouco mais do trabalho dela. Death Loves Veronica foi uma das headliners, a atração principal, né, do nosso Enamorados Redevamp Dark Online Festival, né, que aconteceu aí a semana retrasada, né, e foi uma apresentação e tanto. Deixa eu trazer ela aqui para o nosso palco principal. My noble friend Veronica, is another great video clip. Please tell us a bit more about the song and about this video. The masked horned one, that man in black remembers me the books of Michael Howard, Nigel Jackson, Nicolás de Matos Friswold, Andrew Chamblay. Remember many things, but it's a very cool video. Please tell us a bit more about the song and video.
Okay. Um, I won't. I'm not going to reveal the mystery man in the video. He's going to remain unidentified, and I may bring him with me when I perform. Um, my first live performance is going to be in October in Florida, but yeah, so that was sort of an idea to give this sense of evil and some kind of overseer or maybe even an authority feeling over the message in the song. This song has a dual meaning, and it sort of has this double secret meaning to it. And I don't know if I should reveal it or not, but it is either, and it's meant to be someone's perspective when they look at the song or listen to the song. It is either about a sexual experience or like, someone wanting a certain sexual experience, or it is actually about animal cruelty. Because I purposely did not wear leather in that video. It's actually, plastic. So uh, I wanted, it's actually about two things, and I wanted to find a way to make a song about two things at the same time, and for people to just, I wanted to see if anyone would catch the two meanings. So
Mhm.
I don't know if I'm being confusing or not.
No, it's very clear. It's very clear and very interesting. It's um it's um it's a powerful image. I think when we look him with these horns, the mask, the shadows, and yes, it's something, a kind of medieval authority, but it's something more. It's something preformal. It's something that make think about collective unconscious and all this kind of themes related to the great Austriac Carl Jung. And yes, and it's a very powerful archetype, I think. It's
I
very
was
powerful.
inspired by Eyes Wide Shut, and I've never seen the whole film, but the character is very much supposed to be like sort of an Illuminati or maybe a cult leader or an evil um, person that maybe runs some powerful organization. That's one meaning for the song, and then the other meaning is not expressed in this video, being about red leather, meaning maybe about animal cruelty as well. So there's a dual, and that's why I thought the horns would help, because that gives it that more the animal part is then hinted to in that, and there's a hint to it also being some ancient evil, you know old cult type meaning as well. So I wanted it to have two things, but you've got it. The evil feeling is definitely supposed to be there, and so is that natural feeling that you get from the horns and the cloak and the ancient vibe that's in there.
Yes, it's very evocative. It's a very evocative image. Oh, this evening here on Brazil is the winter solstice for us here, and
Oh,
uh, oh yes, yes. Oh, see, oh yes, the man in black, the horned one. Oh yes, winter solstice night. Yes, very harmonizes very well with this evening here.
cool. Good.
Yes, and my friend, how are you appreciating the spirit of online festival and streaming? Is being something very different, and why when the DJs there is no dance floor, there is no nightclub for the DJs play, and everybody of the gothic, dark wave, gothic rock, death rock, post-punk scene, all DJs come here to Twitch, to the online format, bringing music, DJ sets, and how are you appreciating this spirit of online festival, DJ streamings, and all kind of this internet happenings? It's been something useful. It's been something good for the musicians too.
I think so. Um, I think it's a good opportunity for us to be able to even be in the chat room. And when I go to a streaming performance, though, I try to not chat very much. But then I just watch. But then there's occasional, like I'll see a DJ I know in real life that I've done a show in Austin, and then he pops in the room, or I've done a show somewhere and I know that DJ. I mean, so I have to say something. but um, but I think that it's a very good way to get people to kind of connect with the bands that they're watching as well. It gives them that opportunity if they're there. Um, Also, uh, it's good because you can watch how other bands are performing that you haven't performed with. So it's a good way to help support them. And I've learned about a lot of new DJs this way. And I've started following a lot of DJs on Twitch. And I try to remember everyone's names and then follow them. Um, but I've heard so much good music because of the pandemic. I think it's stuff I would have never heard before, and it's these festivals online and these online streaming shows that help with that.
Mhm. Yes, this is good. Veronica, this is an inescapable question on our show. Is there any vampire character on books, movies, or even pop culture that are the favorite character of you?
Hmm. Um, my favorite character. I don't want to be very typical and say Dracula. I don't know. In Interview with the Vampire, I always liked the character that Antonio Banderas played, and I don't remember the name of that vampire.
Oh,
He was
it's
my favorite.
it's
He was
Armand. Oh, at least it's Armand on
Armando,
the movie.
right?
Armand. It's a
Armand.
powerful vampire.
Yeah, I liked him, and that was a really powerful scene. And I liked how goth everyone kind of looked in that, and I really liked how they did that. So. I mean, I
Yes,
read the book too, but seeing it visually, I thought they did a very good job with him.
yes, he was. I think he Banderas, Antonio Banderas incarnated the vampire archetype in a very powerful and magnetic way. I
Yeah.
love his interpretation of a vampire.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
liked his hair. His hair,
yes,
he
it's a
was just
bit weird
perfect.
when we read the book and read the description, the physical description
Yeah.
of Armand. But okay, Banderas plays a great vampire,
Mhm.
not Armand, but a powerful vampire.
Yeah.
And Banderas have this the way as Antonio Bandeira look to the camera and look towards people. Oh,
And his
it's
voice. I mean, it was just all good. I really liked that. So,
yes. when I watched Interview with the Vampire, the movie on the distant years of 1993, 93 or 94, 94, forgive me. Yes, it's for me. I go to the cinemas 8 times to watch this movie every weekend. As yes, yes, it was amazing movie for me. I was young and in the streets behind that cinema we have um, a a county with old houses and mansions. County called the Bela Vista here in my city, São Paulo. And when I go out of the cinema with my long black trench coat, I go and walk in the streets of this county to see the mansions, the old houses, and remain immersed on the atmosphere of that movie. I love this movie very much.
Yeah. I, I also I used to write, and I don't talk about this very much, but I used to write books as well when I was off not doing music for the 10, 12 years that I wasn't doing music. And I wrote a children's book with vampires in it too. So I really do like vampires. I just don't want to plug any of my books in. I don't want to talk about the books, but I've actually written a children's book and put vampires in it. So I love vampires.
Yes, they is a powerful archetype. It's a powerful characters and very, very inspiring. Very inspiring.
Yeah.
My friend, I think that we are in the last minutes of our interview, and I wish you ask to you send a special message for our audience, and even and this last minutes. It is for you, and please leave a special message for all us here.
Well, I would say that there was something I that happened to me a couple of days ago, and I thought I'll share that with you guys. That I think might be powerful for people who are feeling that they are doubting anything going on in their lives. I changed phones months ago, and I went and got my old phone because I was looking for something that I saved on it. So I turned it on, and what I saw pop up was a message to myself. I had texted myself, and I told myself, "You are going to be on a great record label, and you're going to put out an album, and it's going to be exactly the way you want it to be, and it's going to do well." And I was looking at that message and I thought all of this has come true. So I wrote this to myself in a text message, I guess to make myself feel better. And I don't even remember writing it. So it must have been while I was healing from that surgery. But I think the point is when just believe in whatever it is that you want and tell yourself it's going to happen because it's going to happen if you really believe it. Like you have to be telling yourself that it's going to happen, whatever it is in the arts, in your personal life, with a family member maybe that you care about, and maybe they're for their health, whatever the thing is, you just have to really really believe that the best outcome is going to happen. And so I don't know, that really hit me when I saw that the other day because I couldn't believe I had said that to myself and it all came true. I mean, I was on another record label, but I just feel like for this album, this has been the label for me, and everything worked out exactly like I wanted, and even better than I thought.
Yes, yes. Veronica, I wish thank you so much by you join us here on this evening, this winter solstice evening here on Acesso Rede Vamp. Was a very, very special talk. And after all these pandemics, I hope you may visit here, Brazil, meet the stage, the Rede Vamp audience on our festivals, um, alive with the peoples, and I think will be a great time. And me and Zendra hopes visit Los Angeles and and party in Los Angeles because
Yeah.
it's a kind of dream place for us. Oh yes, it's there where Alice Cooper will may find Alice Cooper in the bar. It's yes, has there's the bands of hard glam, there's the death rock bands. It's a mythical place for us, and we hope
Yeah.
visit the city one day.
I hope to go to Brazil one day too. So a lot of great people there and a lot of great feedback that I get from people there. So I really appreciate you having me on this show.
Will be amazing. One more time. Thank you so much, Veronica. Now,
Se você gostou deste vídeo, deixe um curtir, compartilhe com pessoas afins e visite sempre o nosso portal redevamp.com.